Yeah, this unfortunately is one of those times that I wish I could tell you that this title is a clickbait and that is a lie, but it's not. It's the real truth. As you can tell, there's a boat behind me with no keels, no rudder, and a lot of things missing. As you can tell, the boat's not finished at all, and we have a lot of things to do, and I don't even know how we're gonna do that.
Hi, I'm Roberta.
And I'm Duca.
And after bringing a sailboat that was neglected for over 22 years back to life, we moved aboard, and for the next 2 years we explored the Brazilian coast and part of the Caribbean, where we got an offer that changed our lives once again. We sold our boat and we moved to France, where we are building our new 43-foot aluminum exploration sailboat.
And while the boatyard is building the hull of our new sailboat, we are learning the craft by converting a camper van to get ready to build the interior and all the systems of the boat ourselves.
So don't forget to subscribe and to join us every Sunday for a new episode.
Today's a really important day because tomorrow the boat's finally arriving. I'm not sure how we're gonna tell this story, if you know about or if you don't know about, but the boatyard didn't finish the hull of our boat, so we decided to bring the boat as it is and to finish the boat here or somewhere else. I'm not sure yet, but we need at least like a week or two to think about, and while we do that, the boat needs to sit somewhere. So for the time being, the boat's gonna sit here. We need to take all these things off so the boat can sit here, and we can take the time to finish the workshop, and we can take the time to properly think about how to finish the hull of the boat. But for now, I need to organize some wood to put on the bottom of the boat, just to lay the boat on the top. I can't wait. Tomorrow is gonna be hard to film it. The boat arrives at 6 in the morning. Here, there is no light until like, I don't know, 8:30. Bart is so fast with the forklift that I just went home for lunch. And check this out. It's empty already. I need to give a clean, of course. By the way, thanks a lot, Bart. We still need to organize a little bit better the space for the boat, but there is no hurry because we need to finish the wagon that's gonna take the boat inside. That is this structure right here. The design is done, but the wagon itself is not done yet, of course. And once we have the wagon ready, we can slide the boat in place and we can work as it's, designed for. Wood workshop, boat next to it. I don't know if you can see anything, but Pacifico is right there. Our boat arrived. That's so awesome. It's a relief. The boat's at home. Now we're just waiting for the crane to take the boat out of the truck because this truck doesn't have a crane. And really soon the boat's gonna sit right there in front of the workshop. It's freaking freezing today. It's so cold. Time for a truth. We did it! Finally! The boat's at home. That's so cool. It feels awesome to have the boat in our backyard and be under control. It was killing us to have a boat so far in a situation that we could not control anything, that we don't even have pictures often about our boat, and to see the progress. Now, even though the boat's not ready yet, we have a lot of work to do. It's under our control, and that feels amazing. Thanks everyone for the patience. From now on, we're gonna go back to work, I guess. That's awesome. Can't wait. By the way, thanks so much, Robin, for having us. This is just amazing. To be able to have our boat in a workshop next to home is just a dream come true. And without Robin, by the way, is the company right here, we would be in really big trouble. We really appreciate the support, and it's gonna be awesome. It's fun that today I feel like someone on their first day of work in a new job. The boat just arrived today, and I'm pretty lost. I don't even know where to start. There's so much we need to do, but I was not expecting the boat to be here now and unfinished. That's the worst part, because we thought that the boat was gonna arrive, we're gonna have the workshop ready, and we're just gonna do the interior and the systems. And now we need to think about welding and about keels and rudders, and there's so much to be done on this boat that it's overwhelming. First thing first, I need to prepare the boat to be outside for a little while, because we need to finish the car that's gonna take the boat inside, because it's not high enough for the crane, and outside in Belgium rains a lot, so I need to get the boat as best as possible protected from the rain, otherwise it's gonna become a swimming pool really soon. The boat arrived less than 24 hours ago, and I was already reminded that it's not easy to own a boat. Yeah, the truth is, this cockpit is really wide, and right now it's a big swimming pool. I'm trying to cover, but I think I'm gonna need to find a different solution. There is a lot of wind around here. Today not much, but usually. And I'm not sure if this tarp is gonna last for too long. Maybe I might need to drill a hole on the bottom of the boat. I guess the winter is here. I just came to check on the boat to see if there is much water inside or is no inside, because we don't have a drain, we don't have any hole on the bottom, and that means if fill up with water, it can become a problem. First winter for Pacifico. So that's the first winter for the boat. It's pretty cold today. Good morning in this really cold morning. Yeah, today I have a really important job to be started, that is to do the inventory of the boat. When we left the boatyard, we put all the material necessary to finish the whole keel and rudder inside the boat, so there's a lot of aluminum inside, and it's hard to understand if we have exactly everything or if there's anything missing. So today the idea is to put all the aluminum outside of the boat and to organize them into piles of different projects. So all the aluminum for the keel, all the aluminum for the rudder, all the aluminum for the cockpit, and so on. And in this way, we're going to be sure if we have all the aluminum or if we need to order more aluminum, because really soon we hope to start welding, so we want to have things organized before we start welding. So I have 7 pages of all the dimensions and names of each one of the flat panels in the entire boat. Wish me luck. I hope it matches, because otherwise we need to buy flat panels. Hopefully we have everything. So after 3 really cold days of inventory, I have everything organized now. So let's do a tour of the parts of the boat that are still missing, that are here on the future workshop. So let's start this way. So these are all hatches for the lockers. This is, of course, as you can see, is the steering pedestal. These are all the pieces from the cockpit. That's the chain locker that's underneath the mast. This is the keel. This is the bulb of the keel. This is the engine support, engine mount. This one is the bowsprit, compression post, the rudder, the skag, the stern arch, some little pieces of the roof, unknown pieces that I'm not sure, all the pipes for everything, for the rails, for the arch, for the stern tube, everything here. These are some extra material for some parts that they lost on the boatyard, so they don't know where the part is, so they gave us material so we can cut out of this material. Here are, as you can tell by the thickness, the chain plates, so the back stays and the side stays and the front stay, and also the compression post plate on the top. So I have a compression post and a really thick 20 millimeters plate on the top, so that's also that. These are the long parts of the roof. Around the roof there is like a long plate to hold the water, because we're gonna have like water catchment system. And also the side of the boat, the other side of the boat, and also the pipe that's gonna go through the roof for the lines to go from the mast to the cockpit. And that's all. That's still a lot of work to be done. Let's go to the boat. I want to show you a little bit of what needs to be done to the boat. So let's start from the outside first. We need to build the bowsprit. So we need to build the bowsprit here. We need to open a second porthole on both sides, on this and on the other side. We need to build the two keels. We need to build the skeg, and we need to build the rudder. We need to still need to sand and to do some finishings on this drainage hose. What else on the outside? I think that's it. We also need to build the stern arch. That's a really big arch with solar panel support and everything. We still need to finish the platform. So the platform is pretty much built, but we need to build the system to put up and down. Going up. It's so cold today that inside the boat, I don't know if you can see, but the water is frozen. Now that I uncover and there's a little bit of sun, it's starting to melt, but it was just like a frozen lake inside the boat. So, on the cockpit, what we need to do on the cockpit, we need to build a seat that goes from there to there. The center seat's already built, but we need to do the finishings. We need to do another seat there. We need to build the arch around. We need to install the steering pedestal that's right here. So both steering pedestals. We need to build a step. There is a step here. We might, I'm not sure, we have the material for that, I didn't decide yet. We might do a little door here. So a tiny door that open and close. So when you are on a dinghy and you wanna go out, you can do that instead of opening the whole platform. I think it's much easier. So that's a possibility. What else? Hatch, 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 and hatch. We need to finish all these hatches, and also we need to finish the welding of the cockpit itself. As you can tell, it's not welded yet. There is a lot of welds to be done all around. All around. This is not done. I need to weld here, there. A lot of weldings. We need to do the finishing of the roof. So the roof has a finish around, so we can have water catchment system. We need to finish the welds on the sides of the boat, so this side is in place. I'm not sure, to be honest. It's a tiny one. We also have a pipe that goes from there all the way to the front part of the roof, and that's for the lines to come to the winches that are going to be here. I think that side we might need to take out. By looking from the inside, it seems like they didn't fully weld the inside of the roof, and if that's the case, the logo has an opening and water is gonna get inside, and then it's gonna get inside the boat. Doesn't make any sense. We need to check that. We need to double check. Oh, there's more ice here. Totally frozen. Yeah, so also on the cockpit, we need to create the steering system. So we are gonna use the Jaffa gearbox steering system, and for that we need to create a support inside. It's gonna be really simple. It's just pretty much you have a support, you have the gearbox there, the pipe, the cardan shaft goes down, go to that support, and it goes to the rudder. We also need to build the entire rudder system. The emergency tiller is gonna be here, so an opening here, a little hatch, and the steering for emergencies there. We need to create the shaft, and the whole thing needs to be done. We need to install a hatch there. I think here that's it. we need to create this door. We're gonna have a watertight door, but if the door is full height, it will not open 100%, it's gonna stop here, so we want the door to go all the way back. So we're gonna divide this door. The idea is to divide this door in two parts. The first part goes to here and opens only to here. And in this case, if there is big seas, we can close this first half and leave the second half open if you want. And the second half will open all the way to the bulkhead, and we'll have a window that matches with that window, and that means we can still have the visibility. And here, of course, we're gonna have a grid, because this is just for the water to drain. We need to install the drain system. We're gonna have two pipes on the end. We also need to do all the drainage for these frames. A lot of work to do on the cockpit. Let's go inside. As you can tell, no welds, no welds, no welds. Nothing is fully welded on the cockpit. So the cockpit has a lot of work to be finished, and I have no idea why they just stopped the cockpit and never moved it again on the cockpit. Here's the swim platform. So swim platform supposedly is done. Of course, there's a lot of sanding and finishing to be done, but we still need to create the hinge to put up and down, and the locking mechanism to lock it up. Inside, the hull is all done, as you can tell. The only problem on the hull is that I don't understand why. I asked the yard many times that I wanted this bulkhead to be fully watertight, and we still have these holes, that hole, and it's stitch weld on the whole side. So we need to fully weld this bulkhead, because I want this to be watertight, because the more watertight spaces I have, the smaller amount of water I can get if something goes wrong. Inside, as you can tell, there's a lot of finishings on the roof to be done. A lot of weldings. The roof is just tack weld in place. Also, the yard didn't want to do the frames for the windows fully welded, because they say it will deform too much. I think it's possible. I really want to fully weld the entire frames, otherwise you need to rely on sealant, and sealant is good, but sealant when you're really close to the surface, because that's like 5 millimeters plate, eventually it's gonna fail, and I prefer to have fully welded. Here we have the compression post. So compression post goes from here to here. We have a big fat plate that I showed there, 20 millimeters plate that goes in between these frames to rest the mast on the top of it. To be honest, I don't understand why they didn't build this first before the deck, because it's going to be a lot more complicated to put it in place now, but it is what it is. In front of the compression post, we have the hatch for the chain locker. So the chain locker is a tower, a little tower here. What else? The portholes that I mentioned, we need to create portholes here and here. We also need to do all the fittings of the diesel and the water tank. There are more things. We need to finish this pipe. So this pipe is just sitting here. We need to weld it in place, and for that we need to finish the chain locker. Otherwise, we don't know exactly where the pipe's gonna sit. We need to install all the frames for the hatches. So this hatch, that hatch, two more for the head, and two more for the saloon. What else? Bow thruster tunnel. We need to weld the bow thruster tunnel that goes there. We need to weld the engine support, and we also need to weld the engine tunnel that goes through the scale. I think that's it. Yeah, let me know if you think there's anything else that I forgot. And there's also two stringers that goes here. I don't know why they did that. So there are two extra reinforcements, one here and one there. And with that, I think we have the entire aluminum job of the boat done. As you can tell, we still have a lot of metal work to be done, and to be honest, we don't really know how to move forward. We're pretty overwhelmed. We have way too much stuff to do, and too much stuff that is really far from our comfort zone. So we decided to take 3 weeks off. We're gonna go to Brazil. Roberta family never met Oli yet, so we decided to go to Brazil. We spent a little bit of time on warm weather with family. It's freezing. Today is like, I don't know, -1 right now. And we need to take this time because we need to reflect on what to do. We don't want to hurry on the decision now because we have a few options. We could technically transport the boat to another boatyard to finish the metal work. It's possible. We could take to the Netherlands, we could take to somewhere in Belgium or even Germany. Or we can hire someone to come do the job for us. That's not necessarily easy. We need a lot of fabrication of materials, we need tools. Or we can buy a big welding machine and try to use Roblan to fabricate some parts for us and work together with them and get a welder, a professional welder to help me. So I would be his assistant. I mean, I would help him technically. So maybe he could do the more critical jobs, the ones that cannot fail, and I can do the small jobs and learn from him. And by having the welding equipment, we have a lot of freedom to do whatever we want to do and take the time to do it properly. I think it's a good idea, but I'm not sure. It's still a lot of money. I was searching about welders, and to do these jobs we would need, I don't know, at least like a 300 amp MIG welder with pulse. That means like, I would say like 10,000 euros at least, maybe 15,000 euros if we need a MIG, a TIG also. So I'm not sure, we'll see. It's a big decision to be made. And even though I don't seem happy, I'm really happy. It's overwhelming, of course, but I'm excited that now we have the freedom to do whatever we want to do. We are our own boatyard from now on. There is no other boatyard involved on this boat. We are the builders of our boat, and that's freaking awesome.
Time for us to see the boat for the first time.
The big sailor. Happy to have the boat at home?
Yes.
Yeah, we've been waiting for this moment for a long time. We need to get used to the detail that we have a boat on our backyard now and we can work on the boat. But we don't want to work on the boat before we actually do a survey and we have an official document that says the condition that the boat is. Yeah. But for now, that's it. We need to enjoy the boat, and having a boat in our backyard is just a
amazing
dream. Yeah, I don't know, it just doesn't feel real yet.
It's like a catamaran actually.
Why?
The roof.
Oh, the roof. Yeah, can you imagine the amount of solar panels that we're gonna have here? And also water collection. Yeah, water catchment. Yeah, we're gonna have like a water collection system. So even if the water maker, that this time we're gonna have a water maker, if the water maker breaks,
finally,
we can live out of rain, and that's just so awesome. But now you say goodbye, Oli. Just say goodbye, guys. See you on the next one. See you on the next one.
He doesn't like cold and
do. See you guys later.
See you.
Yeah. Whoa. Ooh, he was scared. What do you think? You prefer the train or the boat? The boat, Dad. The boat. The boat's much more fun.